Have you ever noticed how some people feel overwhelmed by noise, attention, and constant interaction, while others seem to shut down the moment the world gets too loud? Some people want a companion that fills the room with excitement, mirrors their emotions, and demands engagement. Others want something quieter, something that doesn't rush toward them, doesn't ask questions, and doesn't need reassurance. This difference isn't really about preference. It's about how the human nervous system seeks safety. And today, we're going to explore what your love for cats quietly reveals about how your mind, emotions, and body are wired. Not through stereotypes or cute internet clips, but through psychology, neuroscience, and evolutionary behavior. Because loving cats isn't random, it's adaptive. Modern culture celebrates visibility, loud emotion, fast reactions, constant availability. If you're expressive, enthusiastic, and outwardly responsive, you're seen as healthy and social. But if you're reserved, observant, or selective with your energy, you're often misunderstood. Cat people live inside that misunderstanding. They're labeled distant or cold, not because they lack emotion, but because they don't perform it on demand. Psychologically, that matters. Many cat people process emotion internally before expressing it. They read environments carefully, tracking tone, mood shifts, and subtle signals. They don't need constant interaction to feel connected. What looks like distance from the outside is often regulation on the inside, and cats mirror that perfectly.
When researchers compare cat people and dog people using personality psychology, patterns consistently emerge. Cat people tend to score higher in openness to experience. This reflects curiosity, creativity, and comfort with complexity. They're less satisfied with surface-level explanations and more drawn to nuance and internal exploration. They also tend to score lower in extroversion, not because they dislike people, but because social interaction costs energy rather than generating it. Many also show higher emotional sensitivity, meaning they notice stress earlier, feel emotional shifts faster, and react strongly to overstimulation. This combination creates a nervous system that needs calm, predictability, and space to reset. Cats don't interrupt that system, they support it. At a deeper level, this isn't really about animals at all, it's about regulation. Some nervous systems calm down through action, structure, and frequent engagement. These systems feel safe when energy is high and interaction is constant. Other nervous systems calm down through stillness, low stimulation, and autonomy. Cats cater to the second type. They don't escalate energy or demand attention. They allow you to exist without pressure. For someone whose nervous system spends much of the day monitoring, adapting, or anticipating expectations, that kind of presence isn't boring, it's relief.
There's also something more ancient happening. Cats trigger what psychologists call the baby schema: large eyes, rounded features, and soft, non-threatening movements. These cues activate caregiving instincts automatically, before conscious thought. But unlike human infants or high-demand pets, cats don't pair that instinct with emotional obligation. You're allowed to care without being consumed. For people who learned early to self-regulate, to stay composed, or to manage their emotions quietly, this dynamic feels safe. You can offer care without losing autonomy, and that balance matters more than most people realize. A cat's purr plays a powerful role in this process. It operates at low, repetitive frequencies that directly affect the nervous system. Breathing slows, muscle tension decreases, and stress responses soften. This isn't imagination, it's physiology. Low-frequency rhythmic sound signals safety to the brain. For people whose internal world is constantly active, this creates something rare: co-regulation without conversation, comfort without expectation, presence without demand. Once the nervous system learns that a certain presence reliably brings it back into balance, attachment follows naturally, not as a decision, but as a bodily response.
For many cat people, cats also feel safer than human relationships. Human connection often comes with invisible contracts. Respond quickly, explain yourself, match emotional intensity, be expressive enough. For sensitive or easily overstimulated individuals, this constant negotiation can feel exhausting. Cats don't negotiate access. Their affection is optional, earned and freely given. Their boundaries are clear and respected. This creates a form of connection rooted in consent rather than obligation. For people who value autonomy and emotional honesty, that feels deeply safe. There's even an uncomfortable biological question that sometimes arises. A microscopic parasite called Toxoplasma gondii can subtly influence behavior in animals and possibly humans. While no serious researcher claims it controls human attachment, it raises an unsettling thought. How much of what we feel is psychological, and how much is biological influence? But if something calms your nervous system, restores balance, and makes you feel safe, the experience itself is real. Biology doesn't invalidate comfort. It explains why it works.
Cats also protect something increasingly rare in modern life: uninterrupted thought. They don't fragment attention or pull focus outward. That's why so many writers, artists, and thinkers gravitate toward them. Not because cats make people intelligent, but because they protect the conditions intelligence needs: quiet, continuity, internal space. Solitude in this context isn't loneliness, it's clarity. Choosing a quieter life doesn't mean rejecting others, it means rejecting unnecessary interference. So maybe this was never really about cats. Maybe it was about the kind of nervous system you have and the kind of world it feels safest in. If you're drawn to cats, it doesn't mean you're distant, cold, or disconnected. It means you're wired for subtlety, for presence without pressure, for connection that doesn't demand constant output. Cats don't ask you to perform. They don't test your loyalty. They simply exist with you. And for some people, that quiet companionship is exactly what allows them to feel human again.